the 1930s, a time of depression. I was inspired to make this dress that comes from the 1930s when this beautiful fabric fell into my hands when I bought it. I bought it off Riona's D-Stash on Instagram a few months back. All 5 yards of it. It was an impulse purchase, but as soon as I had it in my hands, I knew it had to be a 1930s dress that I make with it. Just something that would do justice to this beautiful pattern on this fabric. Is the fabric era appropriate? Probably not. It does look a little more modern, but I'm okay with that. I think it ended up being a perfect pattern for this fabric, so I'm just going along with it here. I had a wedding coming up as well, so I thought, perfect, I'll just make this dress for that and have like a semi-formal thing to wear whenever I need to. So off to Etsy I went, and I found these 1930s pattern that I really like. It looks kind of casual, but I knew that once I wore it with the fabric, it would be enough of formal dress. But then I almost literally cried when I realized that it was over 100 pages to print. Thankfully, my friend Mia came to the rescue, or more like her husband, thanks, and they helped me print it on a large scale size, so I didn't need to paste all of those things together. It was way easier, and I had my pattern and I could get into it. So let's get rolling on how I made this dress. As you can see, this pattern has a lot of different pieces. So the first matter at hand was getting them all cut and then cutting all of my pieces out of the fabric. Here I'm cutting some of the sleeves, and I will also need 2 neck frills, a big giant skirt, and the bodice, which is formed of 5 pieces. 2 long ones for the back and a triangle from the front that will be sewn together with 2 other pieces gathered to form the bust. All sewn together, the bodice front looks something like this. To finish up the bodice, the side seams are sewn together, and also all of the seams are always pressed. And finally, the back is also sewn from the neck down, leaving an opening around the waist, which will be our placket to close the dress. All looks well so far, but this is actually where I run into a little bit of a problem. So my 1936 dress is going so far. I've been working on the bodice, and as you can tell, it's a little bit pinched here, so I think this can be easily fixed if I just taking a little bit more, which would probably be better anyway because it's a little too big. And at first glance, that's the only problem, but actually, this doesn't close. So this is supposed to be open for the placket to like put buttons, but it doesn't fit on my dress form, which means it's not gonna fit on me, and it's only a little bit, so I'm a little scared and I'm not sure what to do because I would technically be able to take some of it from the sides, and there's like a little dart here that I could take, but the problem is like this fabric is very frail, so I can't really take stitches out. So at this point I have a bodice that doesn't fit and that I can't rip and redo because of the fabric being so thin that it would break whenever I try to rip the stitches. But I had tons of fabric left, so I didn't sweat it and I just cut it again, and I decided to put that first bodice aside and I'll use it later to make like some sort of blouse. It'll work out, it's fine. Anyway, that did not stop me, so I went on to cut the pieces all over again and sew a new bodice. And then I moved on to the skirt, sewing it close but leaving an opening at the top for the enclosure, and added darts. All that's left for the skirt is to fold in the hem and sew it. It will later be sewn by hand. And it's ready to be joined to the bodice. With my new bodice, I also made sure that the skirt was going to match and fit. After sewing the bodice and the skirt together, I did lose some footage when my computer decided to kick the bucket. So you will miss the placing of the sleeves and the neck frills, but they were pretty straightforward. After that, all that was left was finishing ends and hand sewing the hem,
but otherwise the dress was done.
Okay, I don't have words for how much I love this dress. It fits perfectly. It's so flattering too, and the fabric works perfectly with it. It might not have as much vintage vibes at first glance, but once I styled my hair and everything, I think it worked perfectly. It worked for the wedding I went to, I've used it for a couple other events, or just to have fun with it. So what did I learn from this little big project? Mostly that I really do need to make mock-ups before I start cutting into my nice fabric. Yeah, I already knew that, but like it just reinforced the idea that I can't be lazy and get too excited. I'm thinking I could make another version of this dress that's more casual, maybe with like a cotton fabric and like a, I don't know, gingham or something simpler. I feel like this pattern has a lot of potential and I definitely will use it again for something. So if you're interested in making a dress like this, I put the link to the Etsy pattern on my description. Sadly, you can't really get this fabric anymore because I got it secondhand, but I encourage you to look around for, you never know when the world's gonna give you beautiful fabric. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back with more vintage and other cool stuff coming up. So subscribe if you haven't, and happy making!